And welcome back, Wargaming enthusiasts, to Combat Mission Red Thunder, where we continue sweeping the map clean of enemies, although mostly we avoid contact with this Panzer IV until our mortars arrive. And then we start figuring out what to do with that infantry and those half-tracks and things like that. Alright, so actually, it would appear that our tank has managed to finally find his aim on this Panzer IV. Luckily the Panzer IV didn't reply first, as it was about to bloody do. Because there we go, it moves its turret, and we're just lucky enough to fire first. Bloody hell. Lucky break there, but could have been really bad. It's knocked out. Doesn't look destroyed though. Well, you know what? I think I'm actually going to put another shot in there. Well... Oh! Something's going on with our infantry there. Just as I got confused with the camera. What's going on? What is going on here? Okay, let's just check it out from here. Okay, so we have some sort of information about enemy contacts here. We know they're firing at us. They're somewhere here. Looks like they're here about-ish. Here about-ish. Oh, there we go. Looks like there's some more enemies over here. Alright, they're moving up. We have no visuals on them though. And what was that about? Oh, I see. The tank spotted the running crewman here. Decided to take care of him, which is fine by me. Alright, let's take a look at that fire, that machine gun fire again. Okay, that seems to be coming from this bush over here. Okay, so we've got possible contacts in these bushes here, in the ditch, or just out of the ditch, and possible contact here in this bush down here. Alright. Well, that's something. I wasn't expecting them to be this far out, but there you go. Oh! Hello. Why did this happen then? I guess the enemy just gave up. Oh yeah, he surrendered. Okay, German army surrendered. Well, that's interesting. Okay, that caught me quite aback. We've managed 600 casualties. I think it's giving me more casualties than I actually inflicted. Because there's certainly some infantry left, we know, because they've been shooting at me. Let's check out the map. Let's see how I was about this entire thing here. Alright, so we've got some pioneers, okay. Just sitting here in their half-tracks. And we've got another half-track moving in here, trying to get us. We've got this MG-34. Wow, that's completely in a completely different spot than I thought it would be. We have got this guy to deal with, an observer, and some observers here. And okay, some MGs here, a Panzerschreck, and a sniper. Alright, so we'd have been in for a fight if we actually tried taking north forward. It would have been easy. There you go. So we've got this guy who took out the Panzer IV on our, well, from our remaining tanks. This guy took out the Panzer IV on a grill. Good job. This guy took out a Panther. And this guy took out the Panther. See, so this guy is actually responsible for putting the shot in. Can I, yeah, get rid of the trees. The guy stuck in the mud there, responsible for taking out that Panther there, which was later bombarded by the mortars. So actually, the tank did it rather than the mortars. Interesting. Now, oh, obviously no one else will have any casualties on them, because we haven't really been killing infantry. Whereas the enemy has killed one of our tanks. This guy's been taking out our infantry. This guy's been taking out our infantry as well. So I think the Panther was the guy who actually took care of our tank there. Yep, there we go. He took out two of our tanks. The one in the middle of the road there, and the one here. Yep. Now these guys, regular crew, and the other guys had a green crew, right? And we were left with basically veteran crews around. No, one regular, two regular, two veterans. Pretty good. All right, that's interesting. I certainly wasn't expecting to win, um, especially not with my initial failures of basically failing to act accordingly and just having this really sketchy plan, which I thought would work, but then realized my enemy wasn't, well, as rash as me, so he didn't he didn't actually deploy everything he had on my side of the river. He took up positions behind the river and tried moving up with his infantry and pioneers and stuff like that. He could have put up quite a fight with the pioneers, to be honest. I didn't have much of an idea of dealing with them, although except when he lost all his tanks, I could just basically roam around with the tanks. So maybe he was correct too. Well, maybe it wasn't. There wasn't much of a point to further game, I guess. Yeah. So lessons learned. Formulate better plans. Um, yeah. Don't expect the enemy to do what you think he might do. I wonder how much. Sorry, there, had to sneeze. Sorry. Yeah, so I wonder how much of casualties were inflicted by the mortars there. We see the Kubelwagen definitely got destroyed. We see pock-marks everywhere. This is the what? That's one of the tanks who got destroyed at the middle part of the game. I don't know who got destroyed or who died during the barrage, which is interesting, which would be interesting to find out. I quite like this barrage here. It was very spectacular. So with the target reference points set up where they were, oh, he had target reference points as well. Okay. Yeah, and I was kind of stationed there for a while under them, so I was quite lucky not to get too shot up by enemy artillery. Anyways, with those target reference points and the forward observer and quick firing mortars, quite a lot of very strong mortars actually, we managed to inflict quite a lot of casualties using um, just our mortars. So that's pretty interesting. I don't think it would work if the enemy was a little bit more dynamic, I guess. So, sorry, getting a bit of a cold, I think. Right, so the enemy, if he were a little bit more dynamic, I would be able to put down so much mortar fire on him. And he chose pretty predictable spots to deploy. I think I picked less predictable spots, but I wasn't particularly good at that either, I think. I certainly lost a lot of my infantry initially due to just basically bad luck. We had our guys setting up here, sorry, here, They were about to set up and just start scouting, and they got hit by a huge shell. I don't know whether the enemy actually saw us and fired there, or whether he was just firing blindly. But yeah. Oh, hey, that house got destroyed. I didn't even see that. There was a house here once, um, where that crater is. Yeah, the other of our infantry teams just got decimated as well here, just because they got spotted and the tanks just removed them from the picture. Um, yeah, so we were left with only one team of infantry, one squad of infantry that's actually capable of anything. Half a squad here, which is not capable of anything because half squads in Soviet forces are generally pretty bad with morale, so they wouldn't be able to actually advance under fire or anything like that. And we had these snipers, and that's pretty much all we've got with respect to infantry. However, we did manage to save most of our tanks. And I don't know whether that was luck or that was just getting better position than the enemy, but yeah, we certainly had some very successful actions like taking out these two tanks, where we just dropped a whole lot of mortar fire on them, and then we had tanks firing as well, which was that was kind of lucky that the coordination worked so perfectly, but it was more or less what I was going for. Um, it's kind of hard to predict when the mortars will fire exactly, because well, it says that they're going to fire within 1 minute, stuff like that, and then sometimes they don't, and that's annoying. But this time they did. Our mortars were uh, pretty good about keeping their firing missions on schedule and stuff. So we were very lucky there. Oh, hello. Um, Someone's texting me. Anyways, quite an interesting battle with all these immobilizers under this artillery fire and all this muddy ground. um, we almost got bogged down. We know the enemy got bogged down here. Um, Luckily, we managed to escape bogging down here by avoiding the fields on the whole. But yeah, it's certainly something of an interesting thing. I found out from Mirek that what he was using here were 150 millimeter artillery, two guns, and they certainly make some huge craters there. Very scary. Fortunately, he seems to have fired in a line across our possible or predicted line, and we were moving around a lot, and we didn't really get fired at. The only thing of ours that got hit was basically this tank, which didn't suffer any casualties, I think, or maybe they killed off a loader or something. No. Well, let's see. They have a commander, a gunner, a loader, a driver, and a DT gunner. Now they're complete. So they didn't manage to get hurt, and even the guys on the back didn't manage to get hurt. They just got tossed off the tank, and they had to get back up. Yeah. Also, this tank got hit with a shell, but that just meant it's been leaning for at 45-degree angle from the ground for the rest of the game. It was already destroyed at that point. All right. Yeah. I'm going to have to think about this game. I'm sorry if I'm a little too rambly maybe at this final stage of the battle, but I wasn't prepared for the enemy to surrender. I thought he'd be fighting on for at least a little bit. Um, yeah, but I'm going to have to think about what I've done here and how exactly this worked out. We were generally very careful, but we were also quite lucky in that artillery didn't hit us at all. We've managed to, well, the hits on the ISU managed to slide off, bounce off. There's still, whoa, their camera. Yeah, so there we go. There's that huge pockmark here where the bullet tried getting in, but fortunately we were just angled at the perfect angle and it slid right off. That was pretty good. Um, I'm kind of lucky with ISU 122s in that way that they are pretty sturdy tanks on their own, but also their armor is very sloped, and you usually end up, because of the way you're trying to approach the situation, trying to move in between trees and stuff or between buildings or whatever, you usually end up arriving slightly angled, so you are a little more effective with your armor. We are also lucky that the Panther didn't manage to hit this tank, for instance, when it was approaching. So that was quite good. That was quite lucky. I imagine if that shot hit, we would have not had that tank anymore, and that would have probably meant that we'd have to deal with this tank using the. Well, I guess we did take it out using the ISU, so that was also pretty good that the coordination worked out, and they managed to sort of this guy managed to distract him while this guy took him out with a bit of a side shot there, I think. I can actually check. No, just full-on frontal shot. But it's a 122mm gun on that ISU. It doesn't need to figure out any angles or aim for weak spots. That's a pretty good gun. Yeah, but we'd have had one tank less. I'd definitely have been more careful, which probably means I wouldn't have spotted this guy, the Grille, and took him out. I'm a little surprised that we managed to take out this guy. That was extreme luck, but we were also I mean, I'm surprised because moving back here was aimed precisely at not having to engage that guy and just wait for mortar fire to hit. Um, yeah, so lucky. I mean, I don't think moving him back, for instance, was reckless, but it would have cost us a tank if we were just a little bit unlucky. So even though I tried to play pretty carefully with the second part of the game, especially, still, if luck wasn't on my side, this would have been a completely different result, I think. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I certainly did, especially the latter half once I got my thinking back in order. Um, yeah, to be honest, at the beginning we played a lot of turns per day, and we just finished playing one battle, and I didn't like that battle at all. And then we started this one, and nothing was happening. So I was a little bit frustrated with the game in general, and a little burnt out from just playing. A little annoyed that well, I have to do all this thinking, and then there's not much happening. So yeah, that's why it that's why I did some stupid stuff at the beginning, but it did work out. Like I said, mostly due to luck, and mostly well, we just managed to um, sort of turn the tables. We managed to concentrate our fire. We managed to use our artillery to good effect. So even though the enemy was in I think, a far superior position because he was standing still and I had to maneuver around him and figure out angles and stuff like that, it did work out pretty well. I also know, I also found out from Mirek that this guy here, the Panther, he wasn't broken. He just had a firing angle set up just so that he was not able to fire at my guy. So he saw him here. I think it was one of these guys here. Yeah, so, oh, right, the ISU. When the ISU was firing blindly at him, he actually did see the ISU, but it was just out of his firing arc, so he just didn't fire. That's why he was acting so, well, so strangely and so quietly and took the shots in a very docile manner. And then he took out the arc and fired at our ISU, but then we managed to move the ISU out of the way and back into the forest. So that situation was um, actually turned out good for us because then we managed to, well, take him out with two of our other tanks with a bit of luck again. Um, right, right. Had I had to take this fort, there would have certainly been casualties. Just look at this. There's an anti-tank gun. That's basically anti-tank units. I mean the Panzerschreck equals casualties in my tanks. That's a given. Sorry, that was another sneeze there. Anyway, so he would have probably taken out at least one of my tanks before I managed to take him out. I didn't know how many of them there were in total. I don't know how I would have handled these guys here. I probably would have just taken shots at them from far away. Maybe I would have used our mortars to fire at them if I had to take them out. But yeah, I probably would have spent a lot of time looking for this machine gun because I didn't know where it was. I would probably have started shooting up um, the areas closer because that's where I thought the fire was coming from. As you saw, and the last thing I did was try to ascertain where he was and completely missed the mark. Um, yeah, but he's not a huge threat over there. He would have not been very effective against our tanks. He would have maybe annoyed our infantry a little bit, but enough of that, and we would have spotted him and then just bombarded him with our HE shells. Now, this would have been a much harder prospect, this Panzerschreck, just because he would have taken out one of our tanks. If you think about it, you take out one of my tanks, maybe one of them bugs in this fort here, and I really haven't got that much strength anymore. Maybe not even enough to take the north road. Um, maybe I'd have had to settle for just taking South Bridge and East Road Junction, and settle for maybe a minor victory or a draw. All right, my sniffles are killing me, and I think I've done enough talking. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Again, we'll probably be playing something very soon, although maybe I'll take a couple of days rest from actually making turns. Um, Hopefully it will be as interesting as this, because we had some very boring and annoying games recently. But this one seems to be a keeper. Anyway, that's it from me. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time.